The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, welcome to Catholic Chicago. I'm Father Greg Sakowicz, the rector of the Cathedral in Chicago, and seated to my left, a dear friend, Dr. Edward Gordon, and his beautiful wife Elaine, who are so involved with the Cathedral. We have a great program lined up for today, and Dr. Edward Gordon, who is a historian, writer, mini theologian, historian again, I'll say it because he's so good, economist, has done so many things, written about, I think, 20 books. So, Edward, welcome to the program this morning.
Well, thanks for having me back.
How are you, Edward?
Well, I'm fine. And we're going to talk about some exciting programs coming up at the Cathedral.
I would like to have everybody mark their calendar for Sunday, June 29th, 1:30 p.m., Holy Name Cathedral Auditorium. And our very own Dr. Edward Gordon will be speaking on the topic of the history, the church, and today's moral crisis. Very important topic. So, Edward, history, the church, and today's moral crisis on Sunday, June 29th, 1:30 p.m. All invite the Cathedral, no charge. How'd you come upon that topic and tell us something about, give us some highlights for the program that afternoon?
Okay. Well, you know, Pope Leo, who's just been elected, has a major concern about evangelization. And he also has a major concern about truth. And this program is talking about how the Catholic Church, through revelation, has come up with the truths, the moral compass that we all live by as Roman Catholics. So I came up with this to explain to everyone the three ages of how truth has been defined in history and where we're at right now.
Now, what are those three ages?
The three ages were first revelation and tradition. The second was science. And the third we're in now, which is postmodernism. These three have had major impact on how we define truth.
Edward, what is postmodernism?
Postmodernism started after the Second World War in France. World War I and World War II had left Europe totally devastated. And French philosophers reacted to this by rejecting capitalism, communism, and in fact all isms. They said that this was a new age, and to define truth, you should define it yourself, based on your experience, your story. So history, tradition, revelation, theology, philosophy was rejected.
Well, no, see, what you just said is very much subjectivism. That's deadly. It's what I experience, what I think it should be.
Correct.
And there's no point of reference.
Correct. Well, the idea was, of course, that these other isms before had led to these catastrophic wars and destruction. So the way around this was for people to define themselves. So this has fragmented society. Today, there is a search for truth. And we know the rise of propaganda that has infiltrated our news, our politics, the economy. And today there is a great deal of confusion as to who do you trust?
Who do you believe?
Who do you believe? Correct. There is no moral compass. And this is what Pope Leo now is talking about.
Now, he's also spoken about in his infancy of his papacy about artificial intelligence, which can be very deadly, correct?
Yes. Well, just today there was a story how the Sun-Times had a book section, and the person was talking about children's books this coming summer for children to read. Well, the authors he talked about exist, but he had relied on AI, and all of the books that he was recommending, none of them exist. AI lied about it.
They made them up?
They made them up from nothing. All right. So the question again is, who do you trust, and what can we do about it? So I go through these three ages and explain to you as a historian how this came about in each time period, and where we're at now, and why evangelization is so important to help more people search for the truth, and how you, as an individual Catholic, can have an impact on this. Because so many people today feel helpless, hopeless, hapless. They look at these headlines and they're frightened by it. And what can the teachings of the Church do to help you now so that you can have an impact in your family, in your community, and obviously as a member of the Church itself?
So we're talking about the three stages would be revelation, science, and postmodernism.
Correct.
Are we actually starting to head into another fourth era, or is that
Yes.
too early to tell?
Well, hopefully we're entering into a postmodernism era where people no longer are rejecting this type of anarchy and nihilism. Anarchy where everyone doubts government, and nihilism where they reject all types of moral philosophy. They're also rejecting basically law in itself, such as the Constitution of the United States. It doesn't apply to me. Well, it does. Due process does apply to you because it applies to every American. These things have led to tremendous confusion as to what is the truth. People are looking for truth, and they now doubt they can find the truth from anyone.
Now, how would you summarize today's moral crisis? I mean, that's a book in itself, that's 10 lectures in itself, but how do you define, not only in our country, but in our world, what is today's moral crisis?
Today's moral crisis is separating fact from fiction. It is relying upon the 2,000 years of revelation that the Church and its theologians, the Pope, priests have preached from the pulpit. How do you live your life? Do you live your life for the people around you, for your family, your children, others, people at work, or do you live your life for yourself? That is the issue right now. And also, do you live your life for the future, or is only the current
the present
important
moment
to you?
And I always tell people that God is not found in the past, God is not found in the future, God is found in the present moment. However, we need a past to remember, to learn from. We need a future for hope. So there's a connector of God in the present moment, connecting the past and the future. One quick question, and that is, regarding artificial intelligence, and again, I know so little about it, but they say that they can take your voice, your face, change your words to exact opposite of what you want to say, and put that out on the airwaves.
That is correct. But the other thing about artificial intelligence that you need to think about, I taught in higher education for 20 years, and I had students write papers on different topics. In past days, there were actually term paper banks where you could go and buy a paper and then try to have the professor believe that you wrote it.
Wow.
Well, now we're beyond that. Now you can go on your computer, link into an AI chat box or whatever, and tell them the topic, and it supposedly will make all this up for you instantaneously.
And write the paper for you?
Right, correct. Now,
Oh my gosh.
now the difficulty with that is, do you know how to think? Do you know how to separate fact from fiction? When you were a student, did you learn how to do any research? Do you read? Do you read books, magazines, newspapers? Do you read books on the internet, e-books, or whatever? Where do you get your information from? How do you tell what the facts are? Have you learned to do this? Has anyone ever taught you to separate fact from fiction? Well, I have news for you. For many people, they have learned this. But now, ChatGPT and the others are telling you they'll do your thinking for you, and you don't have to do anything. Isn't this wonderful?
What is ChatGPT?
It is a AI vehicle that helps to search all the information available through the internet.
On a topic.
On a topic. So next Sunday, when you're going to put together your homily, your 10 minutes, you could tell ChatGPT what you really want to talk about, and it'll offer you a 10-minute homily. Now, of course, that homily may be filled with things that are not facts.
Wow.
All right? So now, how will you differentiate that? Well, if you are well educated and if you have read broadly on that topic, you could say, well, this is true, I can't use that, etc. But let's say you don't know about that and you just use it. Basically, you're offering people a lot of falsehoods. That's what is happening now across our country, in the media, in the political arena, both Democrats and Republicans. Are you getting facts or are you getting lies?
Let me ask you this, because we have to bring it to a close, and that is, what do you hope the audience gains on Sunday, June 29th, 1:30 p.m., Holy Name Cathedral, on a topic regarding history of the church and today's moral crisis? What do you hope they kind of walk away with?
I hope first they'll learn how to separate fact from fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, they'll learn how they themselves can evangelize better with their families, friends, and in the workplace to counter this poison that's going on.
Well, on that note, I want to thank in a very special way Dr. Edward Gordon, historian, mini theologian, writer, economist. On Sunday, June 29th, 1:30 p.m., Holy Name Cathedral, our auditorium in the courtyard, right off the courtyard. You're invited to a tremendous lecture with Dr. Edward Gordon. So Edward, I want to thank you for being part of the program today. Look forward to Sunday, June 29th, and let's fill up the auditorium. I'm Father Greg Sakowicz, Director of the Cathedral. Special thanks to our producer engineers, Michael May, Clint Cottrell, and all of you. God bless. Continued summer blessings.